Well, every day is a great day to watch a lacrosse game, but how about when the sun is shining down here at Chaminade High School? Two of the top teams in the entire nation, and they get a chance to battle right here in our own backyard on Long Island. The St. Anthony's Friars at 5-0, coming in to take on the home squad, the Chaminade Flyers, who are 3-0 this season in this very historic rivalry. Some of the best players you will see in all of the United States of America, right here from Gold Star Stadium on our Hospital for Special Surgery. Game of the week, live on Facebook Live and Channel 61. Well, hi everybody, Dan Stavarino with you. Thanks so much for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. And we are so hyped up for this contest. Anytime St. Anthony's and Chaminade meet each other, obviously a lot of attention has to be given between these two teams. Two legendary coaches in Jack Moran and Keith Weiserick, and then the amount of Division I players, 2 and 3, that are going to be stepping on this field today is up and down. There's so much talent that we get a chance to see on these two groups. It is a star-studded affair. Let's take a look at some of those highlight players from today. And you have some of the top guys in their position in their class. Brennan O'Neill, #1 in his recruiting class overall. Greg Campese, one of the top 5 long poles in the senior class. Then for Chaminade, Riley Gray. He's one of the top 15 guys in the midfield class for seniors. And Liam Enteman in between the pipes. He'll end up being #1 goalie in all of the nation, at least coming in as the senior class. And these are just 4 of the guys we're going to see on the field today. The endless amount of Division I prospects that come out here, it is going to be a hyped up game. Obviously, all about emotion, controlling that emotion. That is what is so important when Chaminade and St. Anthony's meet one another. So that's where we are. When we come back, we'll check in with Amanda Puglisi. And then the opening face-off live on Channel 61, the Hospital for Special Surgery, Game of the Week. St. Anthony's and Chaminade here on the HSS Game of the Week, and who has a great view right down on the field, it's our own Amanda Puglisi.
Dan, it is the best day of the year, and of course that's not coming from me. That's coming from both of these coaches, Coach Weiserick of St. Anthony's and of course Coach Moran of Chaminade. And these are two coaches, they are really familiar with each other. They have so much respect for one another and respect from their programs. And of course these are two guys that really, there's a lot of history between their programs. This is the first year that these two teams will only play twice. Now in years past, usually there were 2 regular season games topped off with the AAA championship. Last year there was 1 regular season game, 1 AAA championship, but then they met again in the intersectional championship. But this year they did away with the intersectional playoffs, so it's just today and then May 15th at St. Anthony's for the AAA championship. But both coaches say, of course, they want to win that last one, but today is just as important.
These two are literally in a league of their own, and they have been for some time. Chaminade 3-0 on the season. Of course, Jack Moran, 40 years as a head coach. His wife, meanwhile, missing her very first St. Anthony's Chaminade game ever. She's down in Maryland. Their son Ryan, the coach at UMBC. Their granddaughter is actually Belle in Beauty and the Beast. She'll be missing the first one ever, but we thank her so much for joining us as she's watching on her tablet. In goal to our left, Liam Enteman. #1 in his class in terms of netminders. Out of Notre Dame is where he'll be going next year, as Alex Pazienza also is a 2-year starter, a junior heading to Sacred Heart in 2 years' time. Face-off battle will be so important today. Jake Naso will take the first opening draw here for St. Anthony's. And on the other side, it is Tyler Sandoval, heading to Princeton next year. He'll take it for Chaminade. You see those meetings, they are close with the exception of that 1 championship game. There have been a ton of comebacks between these two groups, especially in those 3 meetings. Chaminade in the golds, tops and bottoms. Ball between the 2. Sticks were underway. Naso wins the opening draw. Takes it straight to the cage before being knocked away by Sandoval on the ride. Chaminade home white uniforms as nearly knocked over and got to polo until it's floated out for an opportunity here for the Flyers to bring it up ahead. White uniforms, tops and bottoms, with the red helmets and gold trim. St. Anthony's in those really great looking all golds with the black numbers and the white trim. Keys to the game here for Chaminade, obviously face-off percentage, save percentage. There's that old formula that some of the D1 coaches use. So said Jack Moran, if you have a higher than 100% in face-offs and saves, then you'll end up being able to win the game. That's what they need today, as well as those hustle plays. Not everyone needs to wear a superhero-like cape and be Superman making every stop, but guess what? When you're out there, make the most of every opportunity. Here's an opportunity to the left for Riley Gray, who puts it in the back of the net. Got the hands free, shot it with the left hand. The Notre Dame-bound senior makes it 1-0. Just 59 seconds into this contest. You cannot give Riley Gray that much space. Best shooter from this midfield group and the most experienced as well. His 5th goal of the season. A returning starter with a big size of 6'3", 200 pounds. So St. Anthony's did win the first faceoff. And that's going to be big for them today because Sandoval can get into that motion. But they also have another guy in James Ball who's pretty good as well. Sandoval jumped early, so possession here for the Friar offense. Star-studded offense, and they bring back a ton from a year ago, whether it's the first or second line in the midfield, and it's really 1A, 1B for both of these groups. In addition to their attack, who they return pretty much from last year as well. Here's their keys to the game from their coaching staff. They got to clear the ball well. They need those extra possessions and stay the course. In a game early on this season, they needed to come back. Brendan O'Neill had the game-tying goal with 30 seconds left. Here he ties the score at 1-1. Brennan O'Neill, 21st goal of the season. A man-child is what some coaches have called him. Just so big, strong, flips it to the top right corner. So that lead lasted less than 30 seconds on O'Neill's first of the contest. His 106th in his St. Anthony's career. Of course, O'Neill getting a ton of the hype and has for a long time. Youngest commit ever in Division I NCAA history, where he committed originally to Penn State when he was just 13. Well, now he had a chance to change it up this past year. He's going to Duke in a couple of years' time to play for John Danowski. As McAdory gets an opportunity, this stop by Liam Entenmann, first save of the game for either side, and gets a successful clear up ahead. Tarici, and they move it downstairs behind the cage, as now this overall group for the attack, they like to rotate about 5 different guys. In offense through the first 3 games, who have been averaging just a hair under 14 goals per game. In the midfield, John Davino now, the junior, will get to work and has the short stick matchup. Mike O'Connell, he's heading to Maryland in 2 years' time, where his brother won a national championship just a couple of years back. Tom Rogan, meanwhile, working right behind the cage on GLE. Passes it off, and Pimenthal working GLE himself and matched up with a short stick. Rocking his ball back to the perimeter, and O'Connell airmails a pass. Extra possession here for the Friars. Clearing game, of course, so important, and a lot of these guys on both sides, their defense in general is fairly young. Not a ton of game experience, at least at the varsity level. It was the one area of concern, if you want to say, for both Jack Moran and Keith Weiserick when they were starting out this season, but they have been surprised and pleasantly surprised at what they have seen. The defense for Chaminade overall, big bodies down low. Philip Arnold is really the lone returning guy down there, and only because he got some big minutes down the stretch last season for a group that lost a ton of pieces. And then Roy Meyer, their LSM, is one of the best guys around with that long pole in the midfield. Here on the offensive attack, Aiden Donanza works with the ball, feeds it inside, Bonomi, oh, tried to go behind the back, but got rejected. The Michigan-bound attacker working to the goal line. Who's it to McAdory? A super sophomore who's just the 3rd freshman in Keith Weiserick's time to play last season. Brennan O'Neill is one of the other 2. Here is O'Neill, cuts inside, shoots at the right hand, denied by Entenmann. Sprawling out as Entenmann gets to those end lines. Well, that was one of the keys from Jack Moran, the hustle plays. You needed to get to the end lines as quick as possible, and we just saw that from the netminder and Entenmann. Him and Arnold playing catch in the backfield. As now O'Connell will get to work, the 2-year varsity player. Jarred loose on the ride by Bonomi. Weiserick loves that one and has loved the way this team has run, well, at least the attack has been riding this season in the early portion. When you're one of the top teams, and both of these groups, it's something that has kind of been a joke in a way too, and Keith Weiserick knows it. A lot of people saying, listen, Chaminade, in a way, maybe they're in a down year, you're the underdogs coming in. So in the preseason, they were only, 3 slots behind us, 2 slots behind us in national rankings. That doesn't mean anything. It's a heck of a play by Philip Arnold with the caused turnover. And the Flyers get the ball back. Arnold, the pole, who was a multi-sport captain. Was a captain of the hockey team, also played football. Big, strong body. Here on the clear is James Corcoran, a senior, who is a converted attackman. He works it inside, the shot goes wide. Right into the teeth of the D, fighting for these ground balls. It has been the key almost every single game whenever St. Anthony's and Chaminade meet one another. And Greg Campisi scoops up the ball, and now an opportunity for Danny Parker. Parker, who missed some of last season due to injury, wasn't 100%. Now back in this starting lineup as O'Neill works it ahead to Bobby McGee, a junior who's going to head to Penn State. You're hearing a ton of colleges up and down. Anytime someone touches a ball, it seems like you're mentioning a player who is already committed, either a verbal or ready to officially sign and go next season to play college lacrosse. It's something that is so special when these two groups meet. Boys get super hyped up no matter the sport, as O'Neill tries to drop one in. Up and over his defender, he'll stay with Bonomi. Bonomi last season, 53 goals, 73 points. Has some good showings against Chaminade. Here's his first one today, and the Friars got their first lead as well. It's 2-1 with 6 minutes to go. Jake Bonomi, a future Wolverine, taking it one-on-one with the contact and still fires the left hand down low. His 16th goal of the season. This guy knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. In the first 2 meetings against the Flyers last season, the regular season and then eventually that the conference championship game, he had 11 goals in those first 2 meetings. Both of them ended up being losses, but still scored 11 goals in the first 2. He's also coming off a 6-goal game as they defeated New Canaan this past Saturday. Another face-off win, the 3rd one today for Naso. It was an area of concern overall for Keith Weiserick, the face-offs, because he knows how good Ball and Sandoval are, that 1-2 punch. But so far, they're 3-0. And now taking it to the cage, putting it up high. It's Andrew McAdory. 2 goals in less than 15 seconds. And St. Anthony's is up by 2. Such a big shot with that left hand. Pump fake with the right, gets free, and too much open space to go one-on-one with Entenmann. A 3-1 lead, and a timeout will be called by Jack Moran. Under 6 minutes to go here in this opening quarter, 3 unanswered by the Friars. Gives them the lead over the hometown Flyers. Well, I've been mentioning about all the commits that we see today, and it is really remarkable when you just look at how many guys will also be playing with one another in the future. 27 total, at least to our recollection at this moment, are going to commit and play Division I lacrosse. Doesn't even include the D2, D3 guys, or the ones who are still waiting it out. But you have guys who are going to be teammates here in high school and then eventually teammates in college. Notre Dame's getting 3. Michigan's getting 3. A couple of Chaminade guys and a St. Anthony's player. Virginia's getting 3 Friars. Duke's getting a couple of good ones for John Danowski in O'Neill and Denenza. And then even Yale and Navy and Army. A lot of teammates who will be playing together at the next level. And there's so many more who are going to play elsewhere, Sacred Hearts or Harvard, Princeton, etc. Well, in that Chaminade huddle, down 3-1, Amanda Puglisi was lurking.
Dan, one of the things that Coach Moran had said to us earlier in the week is that he felt his team could win or lose this game in the first quarter, and that's why he called that timeout to tell his guys, we are not matching the intensity of St. Anthony's. We let them just dodge and go straight to the cage without applying any pressure. We need to do a better job of that. We need to slide. We need to make things more difficult. And as I said before, it's all about the intensity. It's about matching that intensity and really just knocking some guys around on the field.
It's also very easy to go down and still come back in a game. We saw last year St. Anthony's on their home field in the regular season up 4-0. Well, Chaminade was up 4-0. That was before the Friars were able to start storming back a little bit. Then things kind of got a little quiet in terms of the goal scoring for St. Anthony's, and that's what pushed it ahead. It's very easy to jump out to an early lead. Still a lot of lacrosse to be played. Right now the first face-off win, believe it or not, for Chaminade, and it comes on their 4th attempt. Tom Rogan, a senior, going to Dartmouth, starts with the ball. Now Corcoran right in front of that Flyer logo. As you get a chance to see Riley Gray come on the field. Gray, the big body, more room for him, and he's got two. Little flick of the wrist, and it's in the back of the cage. So 3 goals total in less than a minute's time. And Gray has his 2nd of the contest. We take another look at this one. Riley Gray, future member of the Irish, gets past 2 defenders, including Campese, and then some extra space. So good with both hands shooting, primarily a lefty. You know he's almost always going to get the pull, as now Sandoval gets a win, back-to-back wins at the X. Jarred loose, though, as soon as he hit the box. Campese reaching in, gobbles up the ground ball, and hits it ahead to McAdory. McAdory, who just scored the last St. Anthony's goal, dipsy doodles and whistles it up high. Back to the Flyers. So impressive, some of that stick work you just saw from the sophomore. But no backup there, and it gives the possession back to the home team, who trail by just 1. Corcoran, one of those 5 attackmen that really moved around a lot last season. It's something that is done so well also by Mike DeMeo, who's the offensive coordinator, getting guys in and out. And then the group that the Flyers have in general, they all understand they're going to play. You may not be out there for the entire time, but when your minutes are, you're going to make the most of them. You're going to get playing time. As this pass gets knocked loose into the far side as it hits the deck, popped up again, tiptoeing up the far sideline was Jaden Jernigan, but he stepped out. 3-2 lead for St. Anthony's. 3 unanswered goals, made it a 3-1 contest. Riley Gray has both Chaminade tallies. Here's Michael Lynch. Lynch with a step down, and he puts it wide left. Pazienza might have gotten a piece of it, but still regained by Chaminade. Flyers coming off a win against Massapequa a week ago, as Gray misses this one wide left and limps slightly, as Rogan there for the backup. Massapequa last Tuesday, that's the last team that they did play. Originally on the schedule in February, they were supposed to see Ward Melville, and a group that time and time again they get a chance to see every year, as Rogan with a great one-on-one play, but just missed it wide. But due to a tournament they were asked, and Ward Melville being a public school, they only really had 2 games total, so they lost in the non-conference, and they ended up having to lose this game against Chaminade this season, who right now is number 2 in all the nation. Ward Melville up there. These are some of the top teams in the entire country, are based out of Long Island. Flag goes flying in the first time today. as Rogan pushes it backwards, and Gray has the biscuit. He puts it in on the delayed penalty. All 3 goals for number 33. Delayed penalty and a touch of Gray. With ease, hits the back twine. A first quarter hat trick for Riley Gray. Has scored a goal in every single game this season, but this is a season high in the first 4. Naso taking the draw now as Kappelman was about to for St. Anthony's. There is still a penalty on the play, and Connor O'Reilly is sitting in the sin bin. So St. Anthony's winning the first 3 faceoffs. Chaminade won the last 2. A 1-minute slashing penalty to O'Reilly. And then a violation gives the 4th win for the Friars. So here on the man down, looking to try and kill off some time. And Phil Polo will run behind the cage before getting it to Danny Parker. Parker, the senior, who's Virginia bound. And even though not his sport, I'm sure pretty happy that they just won a national championship 2 nights ago. McAdory taking his time as he goes one-on-one with Roy Meyer, the BU-bound LSM. 20 more seconds in the penalties. You may have heard in the background there here at Gold Star Stadium, where there's really standing room only at this point. Stands are absolutely packed, as always, when these 2 groups meet. And I'm sure a lot more still watching, and wherever you are watching, we really appreciate the time. Back all even. So a face-off win works out for St. Anthony's, and we play 6-on-6. Aiden Denenza. Denenza with the shot denied once again by Entenmann. So Entenmann's 2 saves coming off the stick of the Duke-bound junior. Outlets a pass, played right off the body, as now Robbie Booth will move it up ahead. High pass off the edge of the stick of Meyer and trickles out in front of the Friar bench. And St. Anthony's has another one. Campese rainbows a pass right into the cross of Parker. And here's a transition play, low to low, and O'Neal gets denied himself. Now Meyer the other direction, from left to right for the Flyers. 90 seconds to play here in this opening frame on News 12 Varsity. Dan Savarino and Amanda Puglisi on the sidelines. Thanks so much for joining us. Tom Rogan working it off to Mike O'Connell. O'Connell, multi-sport athlete himself, as many of these guys are, which is so rare to see nowadays when you see a lot of guys who only play one sport. These 2 coaches do not mind them playing multiple sports. Davino, the junior, with a face dodge and heading to the cage, shoots it, denied. Pazienza with his best save of the contest, over and back. We actually had to call an offside instead. An offside call, as Polo looked like he might have jumped over. Didn't agree with the call, so it gives Chaminade the possession in this tie game. Shot up high, Pazienza says no. Crease violation. So now the clear game. Pazienza from right to left and gets it to Billy Gordon, the senior. Ball gets knocked loose as Parker gets hit on the way. Now more bodies go flying. This will end up being a flag upcoming as well. Meyer has the biscuit with 20 seconds to go here in the first. Delayed penalty. Meyer heading to the cage, puts it downstairs and misses it wide right. Under 10 seconds to go here in the quarter, and we wait for the call. A 30-second push is what's coming. Billy Gordon takes a seat for a half minute. And Chaminade most likely will just hang on to this ball so you avoid the face-off in the second quarter. A heck of a start in the opening 12. Gray got the scoring started, 3 unanswered by St. Anthony's, but Gray with the next 2. 3-3 after 1 quarter of play in our hospital for special surgery game of the week. The #1 hospital for orthopedics, locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Don't go anywhere. High school lacrosse on News 12 Varsity. 3-3 as we head to the second quarter. St. Anthony's and Chaminade. Dan Savarino, Amanda Puglisi here on this Wednesday afternoon. Beautiful day at Gold Star Stadium in Mineola on Long Island, where 2 of the top groups around. As Jack Moran works in that huddle somewhere over there. 40 years now as a head coach. A native originally out of Levittown, who has been the coach now for 4 decades. Remarkable to think. Well, Amanda Puglisi was over in the huddles. AP?
Dan, listening in there to Coach Weiserick, he's telling both sides of the ball, we need to just value our possessions. And of course, he told us earlier, that's what this game is going to come down to. It's going to not come down to who's had the most possessions, but who values the time. Telling his team, we had 3 times where we had the ball for 12 seconds and then we threw it away. We know that the ride is coming from Chaminade. It's a tight field. Chaminade obviously very familiar with their home turf here. He says we need to do a lot better job on the ride, and we need to value the possessions and hold on to the ball for a little longer.
Well, they've gotten some of the possessions from the face-off wins, but we will not face off to start the second quarter. Still 20 seconds remaining of man-up time, where Chaminade is 0 for 1. Gray looking for his 4th goal, misses. Second attempt trickles in. It might have been O'Connell who got a piece of the ball after Pazienza stopped the initial shot. Regardless, it's a man-up tally, and the Flyers have the lead back. Well, Gray took that first shot, went right off the stick. And a little changeup by Mike O'Connell. Probably the softest goal that he scored in his time, but a goal nonetheless. 4-3 lead on the man up. So to the X we go. Every face-off, this place gets extremely quiet, just waiting for the next big moment to happen in this contest. It is a game that is always circled on the calendars each and every year. No matter how many times they meet, there is still an adrenaline rush when these 2 groups play one another. Face-off win for Chaminade, and now they'll get to work with a 1-goal lead. Meyer's going to stay on the field here as the pole, and would do it every now and again, sometimes trying to get the mismatch. Now, one thing also, you might not see the full weapon in the arsenal, if you want to say, from either coach when you do see each other a second time and in a championship game. Stick to your game plan, see how it works at this moment, and then make your adjustments on the fly, but there's still things you want to keep in that back pocket. James Corcoran working from the midfield and has the short stick far away from him and Jack Walsh. Here's Rogan behind the cage, has a screen set, doesn't take it. Works against Connor O'Reilly. Pulling in the pass is Kevin Cutton. Cutton, whose brother just graduated last year, Sean, now over at Yale, and he's also going to Yale in 2 years' time. Spin move by Rogan, puts it upstairs, too high. Rogan, a Dartmouth-bound senior with already 4 goals this season and 3 in their last game against Massapequa. Put downstairs, Kevin Cutton. Largest lead today for Chaminade. Cutton, a headsy player with tons of speed, and he showed that, accelerating himself outside as he had a one-on-one matchup with Anthony Levy. 4th goal of the season. Fits in very well with the other attackmen, such as a Rogan and a Pimenthal, with Kavanaugh and Major, who also see a lot of time in their rotation. Sandoval taking this face-off against Naso. And a kick will give the ball back to St. Anthony's. Their 5th win today. McAdory with the rock. And it's Aiden Donenza. Donenza, one of the top midfielders, at least in terms of the recruiting aspect, in the entire nation. And him and O'Neal get a chance to continue their careers with one another as they'll go down to Durham just a couple of years' time. The coach who has a ton of ties back here to the Long Island area in John Danowski. Bonomi working to his left. Got a couple sticks on him, shoots it from way out there and misses wide. Bonomi, originally a midfielder. In 2017, he was part of that second unit as a sophomore. Moved him to attack in 2018. They wanted to try and stabilize that attack last year and knew that they could invert at any given moment with him. Well, he stayed on the attack, and after 53 goals last year, it worked. O'Neal, stutter step moves, he cradles the left hand. Now 3 bodies come on him and worked out to the right. As an applause comes from the fans, inside behind the back, Bonomi just misses wide. So quick right across the crease. As they fed that pass inside, knowing the numbers were already up high. Phil Polo, Mount St. Mary bound next season. Swim dodge goes nowhere, worked inside, Donenza puts it low, and Entenmann with the stop. Entenmann last year backing up Andrew Bonafide, who was also down at Duke, broke his thumb this season. So not really getting any game action in there, but Entenmann even backing up Bonafide last year, of course. They knew the kind of talent he had and knew this year it would be his reins to take over. Polo at GLE, up to the point McAdory. As Jack Walsh shoots it in a tight space, gets the Polo once more. On the wing, Bonomi. And work there against the short stick in John Mansfield's. 3.5 minutes into this second quarter. St. Anthony's now down by 2, they're up as much as 2. The skip pass, a little bit of space now. Walsh and O'Neal worked from the alley. O'Neal, another skip pass. McAdory up high. Bonomi stepped down and wide. Timeout called by St. Anthony's. Every single year, these two groups have really ridiculous schedules in terms of teams, and some of the teams they still have to play are in those national rankings as well. Again, they don't really worry about rankings. They're not worried about that at all. They don't look at it. They use it for motivation. The St. Ignatius comes in, and they always play Chaminade and St. Anthony's every year. A team out of San Francisco, California, one of the best around. Yorktown still one of the best as well here in New York State. McDonough out of Maryland, Loyola Academy. I mean, the list goes on and on here. Darien for years and years. As Keith Weiserick always says, the reason why you come to one of these two schools, it's not just discipline the academics, which is great, but the reason why you want to play lacrosse here is to play that national schedule. You don't want to lose it with some other conference games. You come here for the chance to play some of the best teams in the entire country. It's something that not many schools around the nation can do at the high school level. Take away going to prep and prepping for a year. But when you are in actual high school during those 4 years' time, not a lot of groups get that chance. And this season, Keith Weisberg very happy with how this year has started with a 5-0 record. New with his schedule, and the guys know there are no gimme games at all, up and down. You can't focus on ahead, you can't focus behind, and you can lose any one of those games because even teams that you may have more talent than, there is still a very good chance you're getting their best effort showing. AP was down by the sidelines. Amanda?
Well, Dan, if you remember in that first quarter, Coach Moran telling his team that it's all about intensity. Well, that's what Coach Weiserick was just telling his guys, that we need to pick up the intensity. We started the game so great, high energy. We fell asleep here. We gave up 2 easy goals. We need to find that intensity again, and we need to come out of this timeout with a lot more energy.
And what Amanda has said is absolutely right from at least our view. the game is definitely slowed down drastically from the way this started off in the contest. As McAdory makes a little cut, has Meyer there on the slide. Now Donenza with some space, bounce shot, Entenmann, no. Arnold puts it right in the crease for his netminder, and now Chaminade can clear after a very long St. Anthony's possession that was empty-handed. Successful clear, and Matt Major, a junior who's already committed to Holy Cross, will work it around behind the goal line. This team lost a ton of goals from last season. Obviously, it's the defense that you talk about when you graduate 5 defenders from a year ago. But they still lost about 80% of their goals from last year, according to Jack Moran. And every year it just seems like the teams just slot in with the amount of talent that they have. Mike O'Connell is one of those returning guys, and he works the ball over to Chris Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, who is the 4th Kavanaugh to come through the Flyer program, and one of 5 boys, one of 6 siblings. Kevin, Patrick, Chris, and Matt all played here, while Brendan went over to Kellenberg for his time before heading to Hofstra. And then their sister Colleen is also a women's soccer player at Manhattan. So Kevin and Mary, their parents, they like their lacrosse and they like Chaminade. That's what we've noticed. Ball, shoots it downstairs, right between the wickets. Had a one-on-one with the D-Mini and Billy Gordon. Saw a little bit of space and went 5-hole. 3 unanswered here in the second quarter, and make that 5 unanswered in the game for Chaminade. Boy, that is such a tough save to make. Essentially a screen. James Ball, a Yale-bound junior, 5th goal of the season. Sandoval will take this face-off against Naso. Clamping down. And it goes to St. Anthony's. No question there was a clamp there, but the officials saw it go one way and in favor of the visitors. Well, I must say, I love these gold uniforms this season. These are some of the slickest uniforms I've seen in some time. Nothing against their all blacks they used to wear on the road. These are cool. In the midfield, Dylan D'Agostino. Working it to the alley for O'Neal. O'Neal, scoop shot with the right hand. It's one of his signature moves. You always have to be weary of that one-hand shot. O'Neal, of course, who has seen more hype than probably most lacrosse players have ever seen in their lifetime, but has lived up to it despite all the attention on him constantly. As Polo works GLE. Work to Bonomi, who shot it from the wing, but right into the mesh of Entenmann. So the Friar offense has been quiet after 3 straight goals in under a minute's time in that first quarter. They have been held scoreless for just about 10 minutes of this game. Phil Arnold. He'll be heading to Navy, not to play lacrosse. He's going to be joining that Naval Academy. Steps in for a successful clear, and Jack Moran says, let's talk it over with under 5 minutes to go here in the second. Well, we saw that St. Anthony's schedule. How about that Flyers schedule for the remainder of this season? Already 3-0 to start this year. They will also see Yorktown, St. Ignatius, Loyola. Teams like Manhasset later in the year, and Riggs Rock, which we'll be having here live on News 12 Varsity. Del Barton, who St. Anthony's already saw this season. The reigning TOC champions. That is another really difficult schedule to try and compete with. And when you see Chaminade and St. Anthony's still both, having single-digit losses and having well above 500 records, that just shows you how good they are, because those are no gimme wins by any means. You're getting their best competition around. This is still the one that every single year brings out everybody, no matter where it is. It's the kind of game that you make sure whenever it is played, whether here or St. Anthony's, You want to make sure you're getting out of work early, you are free for the contest, and everyone is ready to watch it. Whether you're sitting on your couch right now in that family room or on your phone watching it on your tablet, it is always fun to watch these two teams compete year after year. We've been very privileged, me in particular, to be able to watch these games firsthand from this seat. 8-on-8 to start off after the Chaminade timeout, which is taking a little while right now to break up. James Corcoran will start with the ball, still uncommitted at the moment, but a heck of a player who works in this first midfield unit. In their early season, Chaminade has been impressed with the way their defense has performed, but just offensively, the way they've been getting it done, the way these guys have been rotating in and out, and in the first 3 games coming off with 3 pretty good wins. Michael Lynch working it behind the cage. Rogan, Pimenthal, nothing there, and he wears that special number 19 that Jimmy Regan wore in his time. A Manhasset and Chaminade connection, which we will speak about more of, as Corcoran's shot bounces right off of Pazienza and also the right post. Works it out to O'Reilly, who was in one of the stout defensemen here and a lone returning starter on the close D. Future Hoya for Georgetown. Jerningen, Navy bound. And up ahead to Polo, who sprints into the offensive third of the field. Successful clear for O'Neill. Under 4 minutes to go here in the second quarter. 5 unanswered tallies by Chaminade in this game. St. Anthony's trying to space this out, and something that the Chaminade defense does pretty well is they're really good at containing in that diamond once you start getting a little closer into the box. Here's McAdory as he works into that, puts it in. Such a tiny window to score. Andrew McAdory ends the goal run by Chaminade, and it's 6-4. He scored the last St. Anthony's goal of this game. And here he works against a couple of defenders with some fakes into the back twine. Only 3 freshmen in 20 years. O'Neill, Joe Yavoli in '98, and Andrew McAdory have been on the varsity team as a freshman. He scored 32 goals as a freshman last year, including 5 goals against Chaminade in their 3 meetings. He's got 2 here in the first half, and Sandoval with the face-off win. O'Connell up ahead, cradle with the right hand, and they wait to get their numbers on. That's James Ball, who will come out into this rotation. Also waiting for one more to come on in John Davino, the tall right-handed Dodger, who steps onto the field and now will retrieve the biscuit. Under 3 minutes to go here from Gold Star Stadium. Gorgeous day for some lacrosse and a gorgeous day for this battle. South of the goal, Matt Major, the junior, worked into the alley as they go pocket to pocket. We've seen some of the great moves from Rogan thus far. Nothing in the back of the net. Here's a roll dodge as he takes a couple of shots. His pass goes right off the body of O'Reilly, but they recover. Pimenthal, a senior also heading to Michigan and joining a guy on the other side in Bonomi. Nothing there, and has to float it out to midfield. Running start for Ball. Ball down that right lane. And behind the cage once more for Pimenthal. Major with a split dodge. Nothing there to the alley. And now Ball will work with it. 1:45 to go. Ball, some space, shoots it upstairs. Second goal today. And looks over to that student section for a 7-4 lead. There was really nothing there for the first couple of looks for Chaminade against the Friar defense, and then ball with the split dodge, got some space. High rising shot to the top right corner. And the Flyers fly. So Ball has scored the last two Chaminade goals. This one with just 1:40 to go. Ball pops out off the edge of the stick of Sandoval and scooped up by Meyer. Face-offs now 6-5 in favor of St. Anthony's. Now you get the call from the bench and have a little more than a minute to do some work and maybe tack on another one. And number 19 means so much, of course, to this program. It is a vote. It is not anonymous. The players are the ones that make the vote. Who wears the number 19? Jimmy Regan, who 12 years ago died during a tour in Iraq. Riggs Rock is the trophy based on the characteristics, and he wore that number 19. A Manhasset guy, played his lacrosse at Chaminade and then eventually down at Duke. Sean Cutton wore it last season. Joe DeLira wore it the year prior. Will Rentz a year prior to that. It is a great honor to have the number 19 on your jersey. Half minute to play in the half. Corcoran gets taken down by Parker, no call. Still 25 seconds to work. Corcoran with some space, cranks it low to high. Off the body of Pazienza and nearly hitting a bus. They'll start from the far corner with 20 ticks. Tommy Rogan working around the crease, puts it high, and that misses as well. Hustle play out there, and Matt Major earns the possession with still 11 seconds to go for the Flyers. Already a 3-goal lead. Rogan looks up at the clock, sees he has 8. Works one-on-one around the cage, no shot, as Jerningen was there to knock it loose, and that's how the opening half comes to a conclusion. Couple of goal runs. Chaminade got on the board first. 3 unanswered by St. Anthony's, 3-1, and then 5 straight goals by Chaminade to open up this lead, which is now 7-4. This game so far has lived up to all the hype. Don't go anywhere. We still have a ton more coverage here during halftime on the HSS Game of the Week, #1 hospital for orthopedics at locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Halftime here from Gold Star Stadium, 7-4, Chaminade leading St. Anthony's here at home. Dan Savarino and the other member of our team, Amanda Puglisi. And Amanda, obviously, a lot of scholar athletes out on this field.
Of course, and this week it's number 21, Greg Campese. We've talked all about him on the football field, on the lacrosse field, and well, he's going to Harvard, and News 12 Long Island has a little bit more on the scholar athlete.
He is soon to be a Harvard man, and tonight Greg Campese is the latest winner of the News 12 Scholar Athlete Award, sponsored by Bethpage Federal Credit Union. Greg quarterbacked St. Anthony's to a regular season championship this year. He racked up more than 3,000 yards and 37 touchdowns, earning the Co-Player of the Year award in the Catholic League. And now he's got the Friars off to an unbeaten start in lacrosse. Greg is a captain and the league's reigning long stick Midi of the Year. It's not his job to get the goals. It's his job to get the ground balls and the turnovers that lead to those goals. It's not a pretty job, but he loves it.
Oh, it's one of the best parts of lacrosse, because, I mean, it's just a one-on-one battle that's balls on the ground. Who wants more?
He's so athletic, and I think he's our, our trump card, our ace, whatever you want to call it. He's definitely the one that's going to tilt the scales in our favors more times than not.
Greg is also a team leader of the Science Research Group and a 2-time honoree at the Toshiba Exploravision Competition for Future Ideas. Greg designed a recycling plant that can power itself by recycling its own waste, and water pipes that can be regenerated using electromagnetic energy. Even when he's watching TV, he likes to learn something.
I've always, you see I have the little National Geographic things come up on TV. I'll watch things like that too. See Nova, I know on the PBS show too. I've watched a bunch of those. And I don't know, I just genuinely find it enjoying.
And he's genuinely good at it, too. He has a 97 unweighted average, and he will play lacrosse for Harvard next season. And like all of our winners, Greg gets a $1,000 scholarship from Bethpage Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Marr.
Well, we knew Greg Campese was athletic and we knew he was smart, but that was pretty impressive. And of course, he's going to be playing lacrosse at Harvard. And both the football and lacrosse coaches have told us that he hasn't exactly ruled out playing football at Harvard. Of course, that decision is going to come a little bit later. Dan, back to you.
That is just remarkable. Imagine playing 2 sports also at Harvard. All right, well, still plenty more to come. When we come back, we'll break down the highlights here in the first half on HSS Game of the Week and one hospital for orthopedics, locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Best is now nearby. Well, a good first half of action. Let's get right to the highlights. And this game started off in the first quarter with a quick shot. Riley Gray, his first of 3, 1-0 lead for Chaminade, but this is where St. Anthony's started to get to work. The first one from Brennan O'Neill, showing that power as he cuts right across, and that was followed up by another attackman who is right now second on the team in scoring. Bonomi with the contact and put it right past Leon Entenman for a 2-1 advantage. Didn't stop there. 3-goal run in under a minute. Andrew McAdory, his first goal of the game. And just like that, the Friars are up, but Gray says, no way, we're coming back in this. Buries his second goal of the quarter, and that followed up on a delayed penalty with his third goal of the quarter. And just like that, all tied up at 3 as we head to the second frame. Here on the man up, Mike O'Connell, after the first shot got denied off of Gray. He put it in, a little change up as it just got deflected, and they were up 4-3. Now behind the cage, it was Kevin Cutton, who had their largest lead for the Flyers at 5-3, followed up by James Ball, who also had a pretty good second frame as well. Shot this one downstairs for a 6-3 advantage. But Andrew McAdory bringing the game right back, dipsy-doodling his way inside, and it was 6-4. Followed off by under 2 minutes to play when James Ball had one more opportunity. First one was low, this one was high, and a 7-4 lead at halftime. Face-off 6-5 right now in favor of St. Anthony's overall in the contest, but Chaminade one more in that second quarter. 7-4, one final break here before we start it up in the third frame. CHSS Game of the Week, and it's here only on News 12 Varsity. Welcome back to Long Island at Gold Star Stadium. Dan Savarino and also Amanda Puglisi, who's down there with some of the keys for the second half.
Well, for Coach Weiser and his St. Anthony's team, again, he's still talking about that time of possession and that effort. He's saying that we're allowing Chaminade too many second chance opportunities, and because of that, Chaminade really held the ball a lot longer than St. Anthony's was. And as Coach Weiser likes to say, you don't score if you don't have the ball. And meanwhile, for Coach Moran, he's really happy with the intensity and the way that his team really responded to that challenge he gave them about picking up their energy in the first quarter. But he says we still need to continue. We know that St. Anthony's is going to make a great play. We have to force them to make a great play, not an easy play.
Liam Entenman in goal to our left, white uniforms, tops and bottoms. Chaminade goes from left to right. Tyler Sandoval here on the faceoff with Jake Naso to the right in the all golds for the Friars. Alex Pazienza still in goal to our right for St. Anthony's. Ball between the two sticks, fresh 12 on the clock. Whistle blows and a violation gives Chaminade the first possession of the third quarter. Sean Torici starts up with the biscuit and works it up ahead to Michael Lynch, the junior. Lynch's brother Kevin on this group last year was a defensive midfielder, now over at Notre Dame. As Riley Gray, the Notre Dame-bound midfielder, with 3 goals, you just saw it from the highlights. They were all impressive. His shooting ability on full display. Spin move upstairs. Michael Lynch. A roll dodge and shoots it high to high. That was impressive. Lynch, his third of the season, goes one-on-one against a short stick in Parker. And to the top left corner, one fluid motion. The lead is up to 4. Largest today for Chaminade. They have scored 7 of the last 8 goals in this game. Same guys at the X, and Sandoval wins another, goes straight to the cage, and denied by Pazienza. Long outlet pass goes wide. Bonomi gets pushed into the Chaminade bench on a hustle play. That was one of the keys for Keith Weiserick. We need to clear the ball after a save. We can't hand Chaminade more possessions. And you just saw it right there. Flyers keeping the best weapon of St. Anthony's really off this field. And even when they had their one long possession, missed some really good opportunities, some tricky shots, and difficult saves overall. Corcoran gets a running start in the midfield. Works it off to Lynch, the recent goal scorer. Back to Gray at the right point. Gray shoots it upstairs. This one into the mesh of Pazienza. His pass up ahead, running into the ball is Greg Campisi. Campisi with the pull, flips it backwards, but right into Lynch, as Denenza wasn't there. Sloppy turnovers here for St. Anthony's. Lynch gets hounded. One-handed pass, Corcoran flips it downstairs, shot up high, and Pimenthal gets denied. The turnovers killing St. Anthony's at the moment, and Chaminade taking full advantage of it. Corcoran with some space. Bounce? No. Jaden Jernigan, the strong junior defender. Up to Phil Polo. Polo, a 2-year starter for this group. And Danny Parker works his way on. Parker will move to the right, also with Denenza and McAdory. This is that first midfield unit for St. Anthony's. Denenza gets Roy Meyer the pole. Something the Chaminade defense has done so well this season. It's really been using those big bodies down low. They're big, muscular players, guys who are pretty much filled out. Not your typical high school guy. That's why it's so tough, of course, against these big bodies like an O'Neal that you always see down low. Denenza works it to O'Neal, who's south of the cage. The wing now of Denenza. Skip pass, knocked loose. It was Robbie Booth who knocked it down before getting it to Meyer's stick. Now Meyer's pass gets denied by McAdory here on the ride. A push, and St. Anthony's ball. Quick pass, Bonomi! Entenmann says no, flag comes flying. Friars had the possession with the whistle still blew, a 1-minute penalty. Unnecessary roughness to Brendan McCabe, the junior who gets patted on the helmet by his teammates as he sits for a full minute. Special teams offensively has been good thus far for St. Anthony's, and you would expect that. With the offense they have out there averaging 15 goals per game, and this is still over teams like Bronxville, Del Barton, Manhasset, Newfield, New Canaan, one of the top teams in Connecticut and also in New York. Shot by O'Neal with the left hand, wide right. Brennan with 1 goal today. 3rd year at St. Anthony's and 4th year playing varsity. Started his time as an 8th grader at Bayshore, where he had a remarkable 8th grade campaign, 68 goals, 100 points. Here's some space on the wing. Entenmann denies Bonomi. Denenza with a face dodge. O'Neal now, some room, shoots it down low, and it's an Entenmann show in between the pipes. 3 excellent saves here in the 3rd quarter. 10 seconds to go of 6-on-5. And we're back all even. 6-on-6 lacrosse. Shot upstairs. Entenmann again. Liam Entenmann has been a brick wall the last minute. O'Neal from the midfield. Denenza inside. This one goes in. Aiden Denenza. One Duke-bound player to another. It's a 3-goal game. After the multiple saves by Entenmann, this one just gets a little bit of space inside. The contact coming across. And Denenza with his first today, 8th of the season. A junior who last year, as a sophomore, still netted 24 goals and 39 points. Highly sought after recruit before officially saying he's going to Duke. So just the second goal in the last quarter and a half. Sandoval lost his stick. It actually broke. You don't see that happen very often. Broken lumber on the fields. So they'll run it off with the officials. And it's St. Anthony's with their first face-off win here of the third quarter. Dylan D'Agostino will start in midfield. Heading to West Point in a couple of years, already a verbal. The best way for the Friars, obviously, to get back into this game is this offense getting their opportunities. When you have so many guys who are not just high recruits, as D'Agostino loses the ball and loses his stick as well. Egos sometimes can form, but one thing that hasn't been there has been an ego of any of these guys, says Keith Weiserick. He's loved the way there has been a mutual respect. These kids play for one another. Now on the offensive end, when you have so many mouths to try and feed and so many good players, sometimes that could be an issue, but not for this group. Flyers ball, and coming onto the field now is Davino, who bounces a shot, which is stopped by Pazienza. Loose on the carpet, reaching in, bodies coming together with a scrum. Couple of pushes after the play, all inadvertent. Gives St. Anthony's the rock back. Campese going from end to end, and boy does he like to run. His stick skills are so impressive with the pole. That's why he's been one of the top LSM recruits in the entire nation. Down by 3, under 6 minutes to go here in this third quarter. And St. Anthony's needs to get to work offensively. Denenza comes back on, and so does a short stick as McAdory rips a shot low. Polo will start south of the cage. McAdory on the wing now. And work to the point. Behind the back, McAdory to Denenza, shoots it high. With all the loaded talent, of course, on this St. Anthony's team, you start to think back of how do you compare these to some of the others who have had great runs? It's hard to do, and Keith Weiserick knows it, as O'Neal whistles one wide as well. And in his words perfectly, we've been blessed here. We had those years with Will Manny, and Tom Schreiber, and guys who are playing professional lacrosse still to this day. Then there were some groups in the 90s that were star-studded as well, but he just loves the fact that these kids are so coachable, and you have so many weapons. Good problem to have. Polo rings it off the bar. Bonomi gets the biscuit back, and Parker works back to midfield. O'Neal to Denenza, as he's had the matchup there with Roy Meyer. When he's gotten free, he's had his opportunity. And that's what he tries to do now. Denenza, little space. They work it downstairs, but Nomi puts it up high. Generally, St. Anthony's is a very good shooting team in terms of percentage. Today, they have missed a lot of shots. Don't have the official numbers for you on that. But there have been a ton of shots that have missed the net in all 3 quarters up to this point. So we approach the 4-minute mark of a third frame between St. Anthony's and Chaminade. Both teams have had leads in this game, but Chaminade as much as 4. Polo at GLE. Flag on the play. And it looks like it is against Chaminade. Brendan McCabe will be running over. So McCabe picking up his second. It's a 30-second man down for interference. Oh for 1 on the man up in this quarter and this game. A chance to cut it back to 2. O'Neal, skip pass to McAdory, little pump fake. He's got the pull out on him. Denenza working with the ball himself. Little space for O'Neal, step down into the breadbasket of Entenmann. Long pass up ahead. McAdory is there on the ride. Ball's jarred loose. Chaminade has it. Trickled right through the middle of the field. We're also all even as well, should mention. Kevin Cutton now. It's taken down into that far corner. They work it to Meyer, but the pass is too high and goes out of bounds. Jack Moran furious on the sideline with his team. Wanting to see a smarter decision with the ball. And now you give it right back to St. Anthony's. Worked inside, put low. Oh, I'm not sure if Entenmann got a piece or he just missed it over the net. But Jack Walsh with a great opportunity. Bonomi from the alley. Denenza way out there. And Polo says, let's slow this down and run a set. It is remarkable how these teams, every single time they play one another, no matter the score, it just has a type of intensity with every single play, every pass, every shot, every face-off. You just feel it in the stands. Denenza down the right lane, puts it low, misses wide. Last year, the regular season meeting, and they went to an intersectional playoff, which meant they would see each other for the conference championship in AAA after an intersectional final. Chaminade won all of those, including the New York State CHSAA final against Buffalo of St. Joseph. They'll meet just twice this season as they went back to the old format. And we heard Amanda Puglisi bring this up in our open. Obviously a lot of hype during the regular season game in particular. But you're playing just the regular season and then the championship in May at Mitchell Field. The coaches have still been talking about potentially going with whoever splits co-champions, if not just the one champion. Still to be determined, but that final one is for States. Play has quieted down in terms of the goal scoring in the last few minutes of this game. And with just about 65 seconds to play, an 8-5 lead here for Chaminade. And also a correction, that championship game will not be at Mitchell. It will actually be at St. Anthony's High School. O'Connell working from the midfield, and Flyers looking to get one more on the board. After seeing a ton of goals, it was 7-4 at halftime. We have just 2 goals scored in total, 1 by each group, here in this third frame. 25 seconds to play as DeVito and O'Connell play catch. O'Connell down the right side, shoots it wide of the cage. Pimenthal there to back up, 12 seconds. Still plenty to work with on this inbound. Pimenthal, the senior, 6 goals this season. Works around the crease. Can't get the pass off. 5 seconds to go. Back to the point. DeVino with a little bit of room. The shot goes wide. 0.2 on the clock. Just enough to take 1 step. St. Anthony's had their opportunities. That is for sure in that third. But only 1 goal by each group. It's 8-5. Liam Entenmann, a big reason why. Big saves in that third quarter. It's the HSS Game of the Week, #1 hospital for orthopedics. Locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Gorgeous, gorgeous day here on Long Island. St. Anthony's and Chaminade. Obviously a game with a lot of national attention. Amanda Puglisi was down in that St. Anthony's huddle.
And Coach Weiserick is not changing the message that he gave his guys at the beginning of the game and at the beginning of the half. It's all about energy and effort, and he was just telling both sides of the ball how happy he was with the energy and the effort in that third quarter, saying, hey, great job, guys. We won that quarter. Now we just have to continue to get the ball, get possessions, and just keep and carry that energy, that effort into the fourth.
3 goals, not impossible. We've already seen St. Anthony's do that. Score 3 in under a minute. Naso will take the face-off from left to right with Tyler Sandoval in the all-whites for Chaminade. Liam Entenmann in goal to our right, Alex Pazienza to our left. Fourth quarter, ball sits between the 2 twigs with 12 minutes on the clock. Face-off battle exactly even after 3 quarters. And now Naso gets the 8th win, but turns the ball over. Roy Meyer has the ball. To Tom Rogan. Had the numbers in front and tried to finesse a pass inside intended for Pimenthal. Turns into a turnover and a long pass up to Greg Campese. Campese, a Pole who you always have to be weary of with a goal. But instead jogs right off as St. Anthony's will get their full first midfield out there with Aiden Denenza joining the group. Gray with 3 goals, all in the first quarter for Chaminade, leads everyone. Andrew McAdory has 2 goals for St. Anthony's, leading the Friars. Unofficial stats overall in terms of the save, but I'll tell you this, Liam Entenmann had to make 5 or 6 excellent stops, with a few more that obviously missed the net in a third quarter that St. Anthony's only scored once on. Had 2 penalties as well that they could have worked with of man-up time, and nothing showing. Denenza and O'Neal play catch. Back to the point for Danny Parker. Parker 6 goals this season, coming off a hat trick. As O'Neal himself having a 2-goal effort. O'Neal overall, though, has been good. So is Bonomi. His 2nd goal today, 17th of the season. All the attention goes sometimes to O'Neal up high. Denenza the quick pass, and they just cycle it around. Bonomi so quick out. Finishes with the right hand. Bonomi coming off the 6-goal outing who has had goals in all but one game this season and has scored 9 goals in his prior 2 games to today. 2-goal contest. And each face-off more and more important. Naso has been pretty good against Sandoval. And Sandoval had his way with Angelo Petrakis of Massapequa last game, who was one of the best Fogos on the island. Gets the win, the behind-the-back pass, and the possession. Face-offs remain even at 8-8. And Naso has taken most of them for St. Anthony's, as has Sandoval. Gray to Corcoran, along with Lynch as part of that midfield unit. The attackers, Pimenthal, Rogan, and Major, rather than Cutton, actually. Pimenthal, Rogan, and Cutton are the 3 down low. Of course, in the early season, just the 3 games under their belt, they would have loved to be able to see that Ward Melville group like they normally would before St. Anthony's. Wasn't the case, still had some time off and a lot of time to prepare for this game. But you also don't want to overdo it in preparation the last couple of days. There's already enough hype going into this game. The national anthem firing them up right before, and he wants to see them settle down. Chaminade heading to the man up for the first time since the second. Weiserick not liking the call for St. Anthony's. 30-second push for Jaden Jernigan. Or correction. The referee originally said 3-3. Right now there's nobody taking a knee. Polo's just gonna take a knee. That could have been against Jernigan because the official did say 3-3, but didn't enforce it. Jernigan is out there. Shot and in. Pimenthal over muscles a shot. Trickled into the back of the net. His first one today. A man-up tally, their second of the contest. And kind of tough to see. But Pimenthal, goal number 7 on the season. And Pazienza couldn't completely control it. So his first, second man-up tally overall in this game. They're now 2 for 3. And both of their goals actually coming on the 32nd man-up. Sandoval fighting for the loose ball, and it is won by Chaminade. Work down to the wing, putting it upstairs. Kevin Cutton. Cutton had his options. One making a decision to go play college lacrosse on to be a Bulldog. Joining his brother. Loved, of course, just the school overall, the academics of it, and be able to play for a team that's just 2 years removed from a national championship. Worked around the cage. This goes wide as well from Rogan, but a hustle play by the netminder in Pazienza. 3-goal contest, still a lot of time on the clock. Connor O'Reilly starting back in his own end. 3-year varsity player, was that 4th guy in the rotation 2 years ago. And a starter a year ago. For a defense that had the years, but he ends up turning it over. Cutton! Makes them pay! The turnover, and then the speed, one-on-one. Kevin Cutton, his second. Looked around, saw it was just him and the goalie, and beat Pazienza high. A 4-goal contest once again. A rare defensive mistake by Connor O'Reilly. Clearing the ball again was a key of this game, and so far they have failed on a few of those clears with some sloppy play. Chaminade making them capitalize on just a few of them. As the ball's pushed up ahead to the pole in Meyer. Wing play has been excellent today, and their 10th face-off win of the contest is due to a ground ball. Meyer trying to run out of danger and gets it over to Rogan, who eventually works the ball. Davino and O'Connell are the other two midfielders. Again, if you are a fan of college lacrosse, of course you see the shot clock and what a factor it plays. No shot clock, of course, in high school, and hasn't been. Though a lot of coaches pleading for it, because it does change the contest overall. This is where Chaminade can use their possession to their best ability. Their best defense at the moment is keeping the great offense of St. Anthony's off the field. Cutting inside, Pimentel takes a couple of bumps. The ball pops loose, but gobbled up. Victor, the pass up ahead. Now the transition opportunity. Bonomi working into the midfield one-on-one against a shorty. He gets hounded and nowhere to go. Excellent transition D by John Davino. 6.5 to go, 4-goal deficit. And not the first time they have been down by this margin. Davino comes up limping after throwing a check on Denenza. Aiding calling orders from the far. Allen passes it off to Bonomi. Skip pass to Polo. Worked at the point. Downstairs, behind the back. Couldn't get the shot off. Parker's attempt still loose, and sprawling back is Liam Enterman. With Parker and Bonomi right there. Liam Enterman has been excellent today. O'Connell into the offensive third. He works a GLE, cutting in, Tom Rogan. The Flyers are capitalizing on St. Anthony's mistakes. 5-goal lead, the largest today. And this really the first true transition goal we have seen. Quick passes, Major hitting Rogan on the run. Rogan's 5th of the season and first today. With 5:46 to go. Naso will pick up this win due to a violation. Naso, who originally coming from Shoreham Wading River in 2017. Now been a 2-year face-off guy for Keith Weiserick. Has won 9 of the 20 that have been taken. O'Neal cutting inside, ball knocked loose, but here comes a flag. Between McCabe and Booth. They were able to get the ball loose, but they're calling the penalty on Robbie Booth. The first-year varsity close defender with that big 6'2", 220 frame. 1-minute penalty. Oh for 2 of man-up time. Timeout from Jack Moran. Chaminade man down, needs to talk things over. 20th year for Keith Weiserick, and as he even said, man, time really flew right by. Has won a bunch of titles during his time. A former St. Anthony's player himself, graduate of 1986. where he played football and lacrosse and eventually playing at St. John's in college. Has brought this St. Anthony's team to new heights, 15 CHSAA championships, and he has been responsible for every one of those since the year 2000. Knows each season it becomes a new challenge. With the turnover that does come and the amount of talent you see that comes through your program, you would think it would be easy to have something like that. But sometimes it is a little bit difficult to stay at the same level with the same teams you are playing. This their largest deficit throughout the season. They knew it would be a different animal facing Chaminade than what they saw in their first 5 games. And have even said, listen, if we play the way we did even against Manhasset, who's a very good team, we have no chance against Chaminade, basically, because they're just a different animal. We have to be better. Brennan O'Neill has a few assists today. Did open the St. Anthony's scoring, but has been getting those constant double teams. #1 recruit in that 2020 class. Starts at the ball and works it to Jack Walsh, who is also highly regarded in his junior class as well. 1 minute man up, Robbie Booth in the Sinman. 0 for 2 on the man advantage thus far. Bonomi misses wide. It's not even just the stops by Entenmann, it is the missed shots today. And there have been a bunch of them. McAdory working from the point. Still 30 seconds to go of man up time. A step down, misses from Bonomi. Recovered though. O'Neill rocks, works it back to McAdory. Downstairs, Phil Polo on the man up. Back to 4. Phil Polo's 7th goal of the season. An excellent pass up high. Got him to GLE and finished right over Entenmann, but still a lot of work to be done and 4.5 to go. It starts at the X. 10 wins for Chaminade, 9 for St. Anthony's. This, the 20th face-off today. Ball will take this for the Flyers. Naso stays on for the Friars. And Ball with the win. Is a little bit of a change-up. Split time last year, goes straight to the cage and misses wide. And that's what makes him so dangerous as well. A guy who usually is on that second midfield. Naso comes up slow, but will still jog off. Pimenthal will start with the ball in that far corner. And he dodges towards the cage before working on the alley. Of course, expect this St. Anthony's defense. They had a lot more aggressive. Needed to force a turnover late. Pimenthal tiptoes right around the crease. They get the ball over though. Gray's attempt right into the teeth of the D and trickles out of play, but stays with Chaminade. Hard check coming by Billy Gordon and bringing some displeasure from the hometown crowd. Cutting inside, Corcoran takes it to the net. He scores! 1-on-1 from the midfield. James Corcoran, 3rd of the season, and a big one with under 4 to play. Got a step on the short stick. Faked, and I think he went right off the head of Pazienza, who was saying it was in the crease. close to it. But the official thought otherwise. 3:45 to go. The senior, James Corcoran. A 5-goal game once again. As the wind continues to blow here in Mineola. And the shadows come onto the field. Naso jumped, but they're actually saying it was Ball who went earlier. So Ball actually went earlier. And a win for St. Anthony's, and now a flag as Danny Parker draws a penalty. Again, you need quick work. If you win faceoffs, you can score very quickly. Doesn't help when you're facing the tandem of Ball and Sandoval. 1 minute penalty. Brendan McCabe in the box for the 3rd time today. 1 for 3 on the man up, including scoring their last one. It was Phil Polo. They tried a trick play. O'Neal has it though. Bonomi, goal line extended. And McAdory, quick passes. Tenenza worked inside. Polo! No! Entenmann had it all the way, and it's set right in that crease. Still 30 seconds of man down. They force a turnover on the ride, then bodies come together. Polo ran into his own teammate in Bonomi. More checks in the midfield. Brendan Lau up ahead. Now more flags come flying, as do the bodies. There is a tripping call, and we wait to see who this is on. One-minute penalty. They said 24, but 18 Polo sits once again. And now they might come back to enforce this. So Polo still stays. We play 5-on-5 for 14 more seconds. Then Brendan McCabe can be released. And Chaminade can have a man up of 46 seconds. Already up by 5, and they can taste the victory if they just play smart over the last 3 minutes. Ward is called against O'Connell. 1 second to go of 5-on-5, and now St. Anthony's is man down. Here's a chance though on the man down, trying to feed a pass across, looking for O'Neal, got denied in that passing lane. O'Connell working against McAdory and gets the pass up ahead to Meyer the pole. The LSM floats it to Gray, and here they still have 20 seconds of man up lacrosse. The difference really coming in that second quarter. And there's also a delayed penalty on the field. Could end up being an offside against St. Anthony's. It was a 3-1 contest before 2 unanswered by Gray for his second and third. Here's Gray, he's got 4. Off a gorgeous feed. And that pretty much does it. Rogan, who has excellent vision. Nobody picked up Gray. And on the man up, he nets his 4th of the contest, matching his goal total in the first 3 games. 8 goals on the season for Riley Gray. And with just a minute 47 left to go, it's the largest lead for Chaminade. Another face-off win for the Flyers. They've won 13 compared to St. Anthony's 10. Again, they will meet once again this season, but that one for all the marbles. It will be at St. Anthony's High School. Of course, the regular season brings so much hype, and there's still a lot of lacrosse to be played. Could be a much different showing in the second going. This game always felt close, even though Chaminade was able to eventually open up a 3 or 4 goal lead multiple times. 5 unanswered goals, down 3-1 to make it 6-3 in their favor. Then another 3-goal run, and they've now scored 5 of the last 6 in this contest. Under a minute to go. And a standing ovation by the fans here at Gold Star Stadium. Bonafide with the ball, but stepped out of bounds. So St. Anthony's will have it with 37 seconds to go. They get St. Ignatius Prep next, then Yorktown, then Loyola Academy. Another tough schedule. Chaminade going forward. We'll see Yorktown on the 13th before Wilton out of Connecticut, and then St. Ignatius Prep themselves. The battle between 2 of the top teams in the nation. Defensively, they have been good on O'Neill and have held St. Anthony's to their lowest goal total of the entire season. They have scored in bunches this year. Fewest goals they've scored was 10, and that was in a 1-goal win against Manhasset. 3 seconds, 2 and 1, and now they have to be pulled apart. Some extracurriculars. Coaches come onto the fields. Of course, always a tough battle in between the lines. Even more when you're playing your biggest rival in a huge game. Everyone pulled apart, and they'll sort out the penalties as there's just a little more than a second on the clock. Don't go anywhere. Also, Amanda Puglisi will chat with our player of the game. So just calling unnecessary penalties, unnecessary roughness penalties, I should say. They're not unnecessary. Unnecessary roughness penalties. It is St. Anthony's ball for the final second. An impressive showing by the Chaminade defense, an impressive showing from the Chaminade offense. Liam Enteman, maybe the biggest difference maker in this game, especially what he did by denying this star-studded offense of St. Anthony's. Flyers win it at home, 13-7, the final score. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, Amanda Puglisi will chat with our player of the game. Still more to come on the hospital for special surgery. Game of the week, #1 hospital in orthopedics, locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Well, another win for Chaminade, who won last season's battles 2 of the 3 times. And this time they open up the regular season victory with a 13-7 final score as Jack Moran shaking hands with all the Friar players, the 40-year coach here at Chaminade. And of course, as he always says, this is one of his favorite games of the year regardless. No matter how many you play in, no matter how many you coach in, there is nothing like when these two teams come together. We were really given a great show in this contest from start to finish, despite the fact that it was a 6-goal difference in the final score. Again, this game was close really throughout. Face-off battle fairly even. That was one of the keys to the game. But another huge key actually ended up being disappointing overall for St. Anthony's. They didn't clear the ball that well. And then they knew they were going to get the goalie play like they needed from Chaminade. And Liam Entenmann was that difference maker in between the pipes, as he made some huge saves in the third quarter. He made some big stops in the second as well. But that third quarter, it was just a 4-goal game, eventually a 3-goal contest. And time again, he was making good stop after good stop after good stop. The defense was right on top of some of the top guys around. And what a happy performance it was for Chaminade, and I'm sure very happy is Liam Entenmann, who stands by with their own Amanda Puglisi.
So, Liam, look, two teams, powerhouse teams in the nation, but how about the job your offense did to really keep the ball, keep time of possession, and keep the ball out of St. Anthony's hands?
Yeah, they did a great job. It all started with our guys at the face-off X. They did a fantastic job today, and I think the offense did an awesome job. Knowing when to shoot, knowing when to pass, knowing when to hold it, and just kind of let the defense get a breather, and the offense did an excellent job. They had a great game.
And, part of the offense's success was, of course, the defense. Your defense really applying the pressure, forcing St. Anthony's to make mistakes, and then offensively you guys were able to really just capitalize on it.
Yeah, I thought the D did great. The defense, thanks. The defense made my job easy today, and we're all one unit. And when we make mistakes, we make some mistakes together. And when we have a good game, we have a good game together. So I'm really happy with how we did today. And it was a team effort.
At one point today, Coach Leghart turned to me and he said, this kind of feels like a championship atmosphere. So for you, you had some great saves today as well. How did you prepare for this game, and how do you feel now that it's over, now that you can take a breath knowing you guys won at home?
It was definitely a crazy game. I mean, there's a lot of people in the stands today, and it definitely felt like a championship kind of atmosphere. And it's just such a great feeling to have a big win over an excellent team.
All right, well, you'll get them again on May 15th, so good luck then. We'll see you then.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
All right, Dan, back to you.
Well, of course, the next time those two teams meet, it should be another great one, and this was fun. For another excellent day of lacrosse is Chaminade and St. Anthony's. The Flyers coming away with a 13-7, the final score. Of course, we will end up seeing one more game next week. It is Massapequa and Fairfield Prep. We'll head up to Connecticut on the 18th. Of course, that will also be on Channel 61, News12Varsity.com, and Facebook Live. Stick check Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. as we'll go through all of the Tri-State lacrosse action. For Brian Butler, our producer, and my sideline partner, Amanda Puglisi, I'm Dan Savarino saying thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening.